Well, it's time to talk about yourself. Well, I'm going to talk about myself for a few minutes. This is my example of a self introductory speech. Now, first of all, I'm trying to include as many examples of ways to do this as possible into my speech. So I'm probably going somewhat overboard in the presentation, but that's all right. I hope there are some good examples in here for you. Now, first of all, I'm sitting down. One of the reasons is because I've got various notes and materials around me that I need for my lecture here, and this will be a fairly short lecture. I would much prefer to stand up. I would prefer it if you stand up, but I completely understand if with your phone or your computer, however you do it, if it's just easier to sit down, that's all right. Normally, I would absolutely insist that during a presentation, you always stand. So, there we go. All right, so I'm going to give my speech. You know what? Let me grab a little stopwatch. Now, I'm going to go ahead and time myself just for the heck of it to see how long this presentation takes. I'm pretty sure I know how long it is. I've done it a few times, but I'll time it again. As you practice, remember that word. As you practice, make sure you time yourself. Time yourself every time you practice. You have to practice 3, 4, 5, 6 times until you feel comfortable. But always time it so that you know if you're somewhere in that target time range. In the dramatic presentations, a few people decided, well, the time limit was between 2 and 4 minutes, and at 4 minutes they had a timer going. I even heard one go off. They just stopped. No, don't do that. No, if you go over the time limit a little bit, it will not count against you. You need to have closure. You need to end the speech properly. Now, if you practice your speech and it's 7 minutes long, figure out a way to cut it down, to shorten it. Because again, the target time for this speech is 3 to 5 minutes. So try to keep it in there. Once more, as I've said before, it's really important that you at least meet the minimum target time, 3 minutes. If you go over the 5 minutes a little bit, that's fine. I'm not going to worry about it. So we'll give that a try. I do not recommend doing what I'm just about to do here. I do not recommend that you put a stopwatch, your phone, whatever, in front of you, because that encourages you. Like if you see, oh, I'm going to go a little bit long, you start speeding up and talking faster. No, don't worry about that. Just time it enough times that you have a pretty good idea if you're within the right range. So there we go. But just for purposes here, I'll go ahead and do what I just said you're not supposed to do. All right. Now, I said in my last video that you need to work from an outline, and I have my outline right here. There you go. You can see it. That's my outline. Now, in the second video that I posted, I go through my outline. You can go through and see exactly what my outline looks like. I am uploading a blank outline template form into the Canvas files. I'll attach it to the email, whatever. Please feel free to use the template. It'll make your life easier. It'll make putting this together go a lot faster. You don't have to reinvent the wheel there. So let me give this a try, and then I'll talk about the speech itself. It's everyone's worst nightmare. The smoke alarm goes off at 3 o'clock in the morning, and you jump out of bed and you think, the house must be on fire. I need to get out of here. And the second thing you might think is, what should I take with me? What should I grab? Well, I certainly know one of the things I would reach for in that kind of situation. It's a book. And today I'm going to tell you a little bit about my love of books. Hello, my name is Ray Shabinsky, and I love the works of a Roman senator named Cicero. And Cicero once said, "A room without books is like a body without a soul." I truly believe that. My love of books is profound. And so today I'm going to tell you about a great memory I have of a beautiful spring day many years ago and how I came to possess this very special book. It was spring break, my senior year in high school, and I only lived about 90 miles from downtown Chicago. So I called my girlfriend Mary and I said, "Hey, you want to go into town for the day? We can have lunch, maybe go to the art museum." And she said, "Sure." So I drove over and picked her up and off we went. Well, we arrived in Chicago, parked the car, and it was a dazzling, beautiful spring day. There were light, fluffy clouds in the sky, a gentle breeze, and we were walking down a famous street in Chicago called Michigan Avenue. And Michigan Avenue is lined with Art Deco buildings. Now, these are buildings that were built in like the 1920s and 30s, very distinctive. And as we walked past one of those buildings, I saw a bronze plaque on the wall, and I was looking at it, and I said, "Mary, look at this. 14th floor, books used and rare." I was already a serious book nerd, even in high school. I thought I'd show off a little bit. So we went into the building, got onto this beautiful brass and glass elevator, hit number 14, and up we went. And then when we got to the 14th floor and the doors opened, I was a bit confused because it looked almost like a hallway in an apartment building. But we went down the hall and we found the right door, used books, and I didn't know whether I should just open the door, so I knocked on the door and opened it, and I thought I was going to walk into this bookstore where there were shelves everywhere with books lined along the walls. Well, there were shelves and there were a lot of books on the shelves, but there were books piled everywhere. It was kind of a mess, and there wasn't anybody around. And then Mary and I heard someone in the back room, and out came this little old guy. I'm not making this up. He looked like a character from a Charles Dickens story. The wire-rimmed glasses, shorter than me, and I'm not very tall. And he came over to me and he looked at me and said, "Well, what do you want?" And I don't know. I was just going to browse the books, and I said, first book that came to mind, The Time Machine by H.G. Wells. I'd just heard about it. And the fellow said, "Yeah, I think I have a copy around here somewhere." And he went into that back room again. Not making this up. We heard books falling over. And a few moments later, he came back out and he handed me this book, The Time Machine by H.G. Wells. But I looked at the cover and I thought, this is a really old copy. And I looked inside and it says 1895. Well, I knew enough about the book to know that was when it was first published. And I thought, my gosh, there's no way I can afford this book. But I had to ask. So I said, "Well, how much do you want for it?" And the fellow thought for a moment. He said, "Well, I'd have to have $15. Well, even back then I had $15, so I pulled it out and I bought the book. And the rest of the day went smoothly. Well, when I got home that night, I took the book and I read it, and I thoroughly enjoyed the book. It's all about a man who tries to control destiny in time, and realized at the end of the book how precious time really is. But it's not so much the story. This book holds such special memories for me. And every time I open the pages of this book, it's almost as if those memories come fluttering out. So as I said, I love books. I really believe that books have souls, that they are more than just the sum of their words. They can capture many, many things. Remember, Cicero said, "A room without books is like a body without a soul." I hope you never have to decide what to grab in time of danger. There are a lot of memories in many of my books, but The Time Machine holds some of the best of them. Thank you very much for listening. All right, I hear a round of applause going on out there. Woohoo! Let's see. Whoops, I forgot to check my watch. Okay, all right, it was a little long. I got carried away with the descriptive language. 5 minutes and 40 seconds. Okay, I'm not going to dock myself any points on that one. That's all right. Now, let me reach down and grab my script. Here it is. All right, now, again, there are 4 pages to this script. And when you watch the other video, I'll go through it, but I just want to show you a couple of things here that you can see. I numbered the pages. If you have more than one page, make sure you put numbers on it so that if something happens and the pages get mixed up, it's easy to fix. Also, look at how big the type is. Now, you guys know I just had cataract surgery. In fact, I've had 3 surgeries on my right eye since July. So, yeah, sure. Big print really helps me a lot at the moment. But I would do that anyway. Why? Because it makes it easy to read. You saw me reading directly from the script every now and then. But did I look down and read that script continuously? No, I did not. And when you look and when you watch the other video, you're going to see that also I did not write what I was saying out word for word. This is an outline. And again, you've got to watch the next video. I'll talk about the outline format itself. But you need to keep it simple so that you can look at your audience. Of course, your audience right now is the camera on your phone or some such thing. There it is. There's an example of a self-introductory speech. Did I introduce myself right away? Did I say, "Hi, my name is Ray Shabinsky. It's everyone's worst nightmare"? No, I didn't. I started out with, "It's everyone's worst nightmare." I thought that was more effective in getting your attention than just saying my name. I didn't say my name until I had gone a little bit further into the introduction, but I still said my name. You must introduce yourself. So I had the grabber. I told you what the speech was going to be about, and so on. I'll talk more about this on the other video when I go through the outline itself. Now, the object. Again, don't overthink this. Keep it simple. Here's, my object is the book. Now, did I show the book right away? No. For dramatic purposes, I waited until the part of the story where the man hands me the book. You don't have to be that, I've been doing this a long time. You can just show the object whenever it suits you best or works best. Show it at the beginning of the speech, at the end of the speech. What if you're giving a speech about a favorite person and the favorite person is not available? Well, if you have a picture, that would work. Now, I could have done a talk about how much I enjoy Latin. Yeah, go figure, but I do. And my favorite teacher in high school was my Latin teacher, Mr. Wilking. Well, unfortunately, Mr. Wilking passed away a few years ago. I might have a picture of him somewhere. What could I use for an object if I talked about Mr. Wilking and how he inspired me to love Latin? I could pull out my old Latin book, which I happen to have. Haha. See, don't overthink this. Now, I've told you many times that because of my communication background and science background, I want to be, I've always wanted to do science writing and science education. And so I could have done a speech about that instead of the time machine. And for that, I could have, here's the March issue of Astronomy Magazine, of which I'm a contributing editor. Product placement here. And I could turn to page 40 and say, and here's my article this month. Okay. That's kind of schmaltzy. I won't do that. I could also just talk about my love of writing and a little bit more about me. My father was a newspaper editor. And I was always amazed how, in fact, he was a sports editor in particular. I was always amazed how he could go to a basketball game and come home at, 1 o'clock in the morning, and he'd go down into the basement, and he had an old desk with a typewriter, and he'd bang out his story, and a lot of times he'd just handwrite things out. I have his pen. This is very precious to me. I still use it every day. So again, keep the object simple. Don't panic over this object idea. Just keep it simple. Just something that helps illustrate what you're talking about. So there's an example of a self-introductory speech. As I said, I will also post a couple of student speeches that you can look at, and I hope that will be helpful. So make sure you watch the second video where I go through the outline and show you how I did it. All right, there you go. Again, thank you for listening, and we will talk to you later. Bye-bye.